Hey there, it's Edward. And have you ever wondered why some kids seem set for life from the moment they're born, while others spend years struggling just to get ahead? Well, believe it or not, it's not about luck or privilege as much as you might think. There's something very specific that wealthy parents teach their kids, life-changing lessons that most others completely miss. What exactly are these lessons? That's what I'm going to share with you today. Stick around, because if you apply even one of these insights, it could transform your entire financial future. First, let's talk about a crucial difference in mindset. Rich parents don't just give their kids money, they teach them how money actually works. Most people spend years working for money, but here's the twist. Wealthy families teach their kids to make money work for them instead. Think of it like a game of chess. You're either moving the pieces or you're the piece being moved. Which would you rather be? But here's the big question. How exactly do rich parents teach kids to control money? It all comes down to assets versus liabilities. This sounds complicated, but it's actually incredibly simple. Rich families help their kids understand that buying things like fancy cars, designer clothes, or expensive gadgets might feel great at first, but these things quickly drain your bank account without giving anything back. Instead, they show their children how to invest in assets, things that actually put money back into your pocket. Real estate, stocks, businesses, these are all assets. Imagine you buy a vending machine, stock it with snacks, and place it in a busy area. Each month, that vending machine earns you money. That's an asset, and that's exactly how rich people think about their finances. But guess what? This isn't the only crucial lesson they teach. Ever wondered why some people seem so confident when it comes to money, while others are constantly anxious about their next paycheck? This brings us to the second critical lesson, financial confidence. Wealthy families teach their children that confidence around money doesn't come from how much you earn, but rather from your ability to manage what you already have. They learn budgeting early, not because they have to pinch pennies, but because they understand budgeting is the foundation of financial freedom. Think about it. If you can't manage $1,000, how can you manage 10,000 or 100,000? Rich parents instill this principle early on, teaching their kids how to track their expenses, how to save consistently, and most importantly, how to delay gratification. And speaking of delayed gratification, this might be the single most powerful lesson of them all. You've probably heard of the famous marshmallow experiment. Kids who could delay eating one marshmallow in order to get two later ended up significantly more successful later in life. Rich parents know this secret and drill it into their children from a young age. Great rewards come from patience and disciplined waiting. Think about it. Most people struggle financially because they chase instant gratification. They overspend on credit cards, buy things they can't afford, and stay stuck in a cycle of debt. But wealthy families? They teach their children to wait, invest, and let time multiply their money. But what about failure? Does teaching kids these lessons mean they never fail? Absolutely not. Here's something surprising. Wealthy parents actually encourage their kids to fail early and often. Wait, why would they do that? Because they understand one critical truth. Failure is the most powerful teacher in the world. They teach their kids that it's not failing that matters. It's how you respond to it that counts. And that's something poor and middle-class families rarely talk about openly. Think about all the ultra-successful people you admire. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey. They've all failed spectacularly at some point. Wealthy parents instill resilience in their kids by letting them experience failure firsthand. They don't shield them from mistakes. Instead, they teach them to learn quickly, adapt, and keep going. But how exactly do they build this resilience from a young age? That's where it gets really interesting. Let me reveal the exact strategy rich families use, and trust me, you'll want to hear this. Rich parents deliberately give their kids small challenges and responsibilities, tasks they know they might not initially succeed at. When their kids stumble, instead of jumping in to save the day, they calmly ask, "What did you learn? How can you approach this differently next time?" They teach their children to analyze setbacks objectively and try again, stronger and smarter. Imagine the impact this mindset could have on your own life. How differently would you handle challenges if you had grown up seeing failure as just another stepping stone on the path to success? This is exactly what rich families embed into their children's minds. But let's move to another critical lesson: networking and relationships. Have you ever heard the saying, your network is your net worth? Rich parents understand this deeply, teaching their kids early on that success isn't a solo game. They make sure their children recognize the power of building genuine relationships with mentors, peers, and leaders. Think about the most successful people you know. They all have strong networks. These networks open doors, create opportunities, and pave paths to success. Now you might be wondering, how exactly do wealthy parents teach their kids to build these networks from scratch? Well, it's simpler than you might think. They involve their kids early, encouraging them to speak confidently, ask insightful questions, and genuinely listen to others. They teach their children that networking isn't about taking, it's about giving value first, building trust, and forming long-lasting connections. And here's something even more powerful. Rich parents expose their kids early to successful role models. Imagine growing up surrounded by people who have achieved exactly what you want in life. Think about the mindset that would give you. It's a game changer, isn't it? But here's the twist. Wealthy families don't just teach their kids about money, failure, or networking. They also teach them something surprisingly underrated: the power of curiosity and continuous learning. Ask yourself this question: when was the last time you truly learned something new that completely changed your perspective on life? Rich parents constantly encourage their children to ask questions, explore new interests, and never settle into comfort zones. They believe the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. Their kids understand early on that knowledge compounds just like money. Each new thing learned opens doors to countless new opportunities. It's not an accident that successful people read more books, attend more workshops, and invest more heavily in their education than anyone else. But let's not forget about another critical lesson rich parents consistently teach their kids: taking calculated risks. Poor and middle-class families often advise their kids to play it safe, get a stable job, and avoid risks at all costs. On the other hand, wealthy families teach their children to understand, evaluate, and embrace risks intelligently. Think of risk-taking like exercising a muscle. The more you do it responsibly, the stronger you become at making smart decisions. Wealthy kids learn early how to evaluate the downside, mitigate risks, and still take action. They know that risk avoidance keeps you stuck, but calculated risk-taking can elevate you to incredible heights. Think of every entrepreneur, investor, or innovator you admire. None of them achieved success by avoiding risks completely. And speaking of risk, what about independence? Rich parents prioritize teaching their kids how to think independently and critically. They don't teach their kids what to think. Instead, they teach them how to think. This one skill separates lifelong followers from lifelong leaders. They encourage their children to question everything, challenge norms, and develop their own informed opinions rather than blindly following what everyone else is doing. Why does this matter so much? Because independence and critical thinking are the backbone of innovation, creativity, and meaningful success. If you can think independently, you can spot opportunities everyone else misses, and you can solve problems everyone else finds unsolvable. Now, here's the final powerful lesson rich parents teach their kids: gratitude. This one might surprise you because gratitude seems soft compared to topics like investments, resilience, and networking. But here's the reality. Gratitude is the glue that holds it all together. Wealthy families understand deeply that no amount of money or success is truly fulfilling without gratitude. They teach their kids to appreciate what they have, to recognize opportunities given to them, and to always give back. Gratitude grounds them, makes them approachable, and attracts even greater success. It's a simple but incredibly profound truth. So there you have it. These life-changing lessons are exactly what rich parents teach their kids that others often miss. The best part? None of these require you to be born wealthy. You can start implementing these principles right now and completely transform your own future. Which of these lessons resonated with you the most? Let me know.